Yeah, congratulations on the third film coming out. That is huge for you guys.
I know. I can't believe, like, it feels like we were waiting for so long. And now that it's out, it's like it went so fast.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, it's okay, it's done. Like, it's actually like it's done, it's over. There's not another movie coming out. We're not gonna do this same kind of thing again next year. So it's weird, but yeah, just like I'm happy, like I'm happy that it's out, because I feel like we were holding this big secret for like 2 years and we couldn't talk about anything, and now it's just great to like give it to the fans and they can enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. I loved it, and I loved Rachel
Yeah,
in it as well.
thank you. Yeah, I really enjoyed her progression from the second one into the third, and like, I love the ending for her, because that's also a question I get asked all the time, is like what I think will happen for her and Lee. So that was kind of nice to have a resolution.
Yeah, definitely. No more keeping secrets. You can just say
No,
everything.
no, exactly.
I mean, was it hard for you guys kind of keeping secrets? Because I know you filmed the second and third one together.
Yeah, I found it really hard. I'm like not very good at keeping secrets, and like admittedly, like people in my close circle knew that there was a third film. And so I was like, oh no, like I've already like told a couple of like my closest friends, which I probably was not allowed to do, but it's out now, so no one cares. But I felt like I was a little bit of a wild card with keeping a secret. And I just thought that Netflix would like contact me being like, you have ruined everything. So I'm happy.
They didn't, so it worked out for you.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, this has been a huge part of your life for the past 4 or 5 years. What was it like kind of growing with the cast?
Yeah, it's so weird thinking, I guess, what, 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21. Yeah, like it'll be, yeah, 4 years. It's weird to think of it being such a big chunk of my life. And I feel kind of like I grew a lot with Rachel, and very similarly to Rachel. Like in the first one, I don't know if I felt as like connected to everyone in the first one. And then coming back for the second, it was just, I don't know what it was. It was like seeing old friends, and it was kind of like nice how comfortable everyone was immediately, because you weren't like getting to know new cast members. And I think as much as like Rachel had a lot more screen time and she was like much more involved and she was much more outspoken, I feel like I was like that too. So I think that was a very natural progression. And I'm just really happy that I got to play a character that has such a good message, I guess, especially with like believing in yourself or trusting yourself, standing up for yourself, that like maturity and self-respect. Like I was really proud of that character, and I'm excited by some of the conversations that have been opened up because of her. So that's been really, really cool to be a part of.
This franchise blew up. Did you guys expect for it to get the recognition it did?
No, I don't think I expected the first one to get it. But then the thing is, once the first one was out and it was such a huge success, like the bar was kind of set. And so I think with the second and third ones, like second and third movies, there was a little bit of pressure to make sure that they lived up to that excitement and that fandom and that hype. So yeah, there was an expectation at that point to keep them successful, to make sure that they were successful. And the second one, I felt a little bit more like, oh, is it gonna happen? Like, is it going to be what the fans want? Are people going to react the same way? And they did, and that was really exciting. I have to admit though, with the third one, I felt really confident with it. Like I just kind of felt like, I guess because we shot the second and the third one at the same time, I was like, well, if they love that, they're going to love this. And I do think the third one is like more, like it's the most fun, because there's a lot of like big scenes and big ensemble scenes. And I kind of just felt like pretty sure that everyone would be pleased with it and love it. And I knew a lot of people would want to have, like I mentioned before, that answer of like what happens to them.
Yeah.
I mean, some people are super happy and some people are like, no, it's not enough. I want to know more. And it's like, well, that's still like, you know, something to give you. So yeah, I think the third one I felt pretty confident with. I was just pretty, confident that we did a good job and people would love it. And they did.
Yeah, it was amazing. It got great reviews. It was top on Netflix for a while, all three of them.
Yeah, I know. It was so funny because it was like the first one, second, and third were just like all hanging out on the top. Netflix top 10, like worldwide. It was like, wow.
Oh yeah, worldwide.
Yeah, I think that's like the coolest thing though about these movies. I'm not sure about like how many other franchises have this thing where people like, I'm sure they do, but for you to have all three films of the entire series like trending in top 10 in the same week, like that's kind of, I feel like that's so crazy. I don't feel like I hear that a lot about other films or other franchise. So yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, it is a huge franchise and a huge accomplishment for you as well. Like, was there something you learned throughout this experience?
Yeah, I guess similarly, again, to Rachel, I think I learned a lot about trusting myself and trusting my instincts and trusting my abilities, like as an actor. I had a lot of more emotional scenes, and it was quite like, it was one of the like more intense shoots that I've ever done in terms of just like so many days, lots of rehearsals on the weekend, and then like night shoots and physical things and emotional scenes, which are very, very draining. So like I felt really good when I finished, that I felt like I did well. Like as an actor, I felt like I coped with it well, and I was really proud of that. And I really did trust myself in the process. And that was quite a big thing for me, because I feel like in the past, I've not always been like that. I think I've been very riddled with self-doubt, or I would leave and feel like, oh, I could have done better. And a lot of self-criticism, I guess. So this was, I feel like it was like two parts. It was, I felt really proud of myself because I handled it well, but it also showed me how much I've progressed as an artist and how much I've grown and improved. It was like almost like a little test, if that makes sense. And I felt like I passed.
I mean, as you should. It's been amazing to watch you grow from being not shy, but this quiet character, to now seeing you progress to one of the four main characters, as well as a better well-known actress.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, the film altogether was an emotional roller coaster for me, at least. What was your favorite film or your favorite scene to shoot for that film?
Honestly, the breakup scene.
No.
I don't know, I just loved shooting that scene. I think I knew, like, we actually shot that pretty early on in the process. So I don't know, I kind of just really enjoyed it because it's just such an intimate scene. I think it's just such a beautifully written scene. And I liked the message that Rachel was kind of giving, of like, she was trying to protect both of them. Like she was trying to protect them and didn't want to, they had this beautiful relationship, and I think she felt it was important to kind of walk away from it and like preserve it almost, and know that they're still very young. There's still a lot of life to live. It's important to like go and discover yourself and do things for yourself and have these experiences, and kind of knowing that if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And I think that that's such a powerful thing. And I think it's incredibly brave, because it's obvious it wasn't easy. It's not an easy decision to make. And I just really felt empowered in a way playing that scene, because I thought it was really brave of her. So that's why I liked it. And then also I kind of knew that people would be like crying. And I was like, yes, I want some emotion.
Feel something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's part of the reason people love Kissing Booth, right? Of course, they love all the romance, but like the ups and downs is part of the whole journey. So I just felt like that was like a pretty great moment.
Yeah, I feel like especially Lee and Rachel have a very realistic relationship where it's not always perfect, and especially that scene shows like how much strength they had and how connected they really were.
Yeah, exactly. And having like a little bit of faith, I think, is important in a relationship. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I know that the movies were shot together, but what was the last scene that you filmed?
My last scene, I'm a little bummed because I wanted to finish a scene like with someone, but my last scene was literally me on my own. And it was a scene that was in the second movie.
Okay.
Where Rachel is waiting outside of the movie theater and Lee's like forgotten that they had a date. And then she stands and she's waiting and she's like checking her watch, and she eventually is like, okay, I guess he's not coming, and leaves. And then the next scene is like he comes to the door and we have like a little conversation, and I basically say like, you need to figure out how to fit me in your life. But yeah, the last thing I did for all of the movies was stand on my own.
No.
And look sad. And I was like, this is kind of an anticlimax, to be honest. But that's the weird thing, like when you're shooting, things are obviously shot out of order, and it's always based more on like locations and like what makes sense for the schedule. I think some of the others, like Joel and Joey, got to finish together on the same night. They were shooting their last scene. I think they did something on the pier. I forget which scene it was, but they have like a conversation on a pier. And so they finished together. I can't remember what Taylor's was because he was also hanging around that night. But you kind of like finish like, you know, one at a time, and like it's like, okay, picture wrap for Megan, and then they go off to like do something else, and you're like, okay, I'm done. So it's always like a strange feeling. But yeah, that was my last scene.
That's kind of sad, Megan.
I know. I was really sad. I was like, this is not this. It was like so emotional getting to the end. I felt really emotional. I was like really sad to be leaving and to not be working with everyone. And also you're exhausted because it's tiring. So you're just even more emotional because you're tired. And it kind of just felt like this huge build just for me to like stand on my own and be like, okay, I'm done now. Yeah, it was a bit sad. I think like next time I have a job, I feel like I should put that in my contract and be like, you can't let me finish on my own. I don't want to
not standing
do a lot
on your own.
Yeah, like with no dialogue and no, you know, nothing to really do. I don't want to do that.
I mean, if you had the choice now, what would you want to finish on? Like which scene?
I wonder if like the flash mob would be really cool. Like if that was everyone's last scene, like get to finish on such a like huge moment. So like such a high, and then get to like finish all together with like a big bang. I think that would have been really cool. Yeah, I think that would have been like a group scene, something with like a group, but the flash mob was like my favorite scene. So out of all
that flash mob was so well done. How long did you guys have to like practice and rehearse that?
Like I would say 2 months, I think. So we started rehearsing before we started shooting, and then we would rehearse every weekend, basically like every Saturday. So we'd be shooting Monday through Friday. Sometimes they'd shoot on Saturdays, and then we'd be rehearsing as well. And obviously, depending on everyone's availability, like some people wouldn't be around, so you'd have to like kind of find different times to do it. But it was a lot of rehearsal because we shot that in one day. Like we had one day to shoot it, which is not a lot. Like ideally, you'd probably want 2 days to shoot a scene like that. Even though it's like one location, it's just that there's so many different moments and so many different things happening all at once. So it was quite amazing that we like did that. But yeah, a lot of rehearsal. And I don't think I'm a very natural dancer. I feel like I was better when I was younger, but I've definitely lost it somewhere. But yeah, it took me a while to like go through it and feel confident. And that took a lot of time for me.
Yeah, I loved your outfit in that scene. But I know that your character has had so many different costumes and outfits. Do you have a favorite one?
I still think the marshmallow is my favorite. I just think it's like, I think it's just the whole like scene around the marshmallow, the whole mood, like Rachel's mood, and getting to like get really angry as a giant marshmallow was really fun. So I definitely think like for me, that's such an iconic kissing booth moment is Rachel as a marshmallow and like yelling at Elle dressed as a Ghostbuster. I think it's like such a good key kissing booth moment. So that would be my favorite.
Yeah, I'm still planning to do that for one of my Halloween costumes.
Yeah, I would love that.
But yeah,
so fun.
when we last talked during the kissing booth too, I had asked what was the longest scene to shoot versus your favorite scene to shoot, and I'm pretty sure the whole cast told me it was in the kissing booth 3. Do you remember what it was?
It's a tie actually between two scenes. Probably the flash mob because it took so many rehearsals, and there was also the race scene, which took a lot of rehearsals as well.
I mean, what was that like kind of getting to, go Mario Karting?
It was fun. It's weird though because I still feel like I would go back and I would choose to do flash mob. Like I don't know, like for me that's still like the highlight scene, and I think I still like have those songs like stuck in my head, like all of the dancing stuff. And I think just like the music, like whenever I hear Shut Up and Dance, like it just brings back like so many memories. Like it's such a like visceral feeling of like remembering what it was to be in like the studio and like watching everyone rehearse and like, I don't know that like, so yeah, those two scenes took a long time to like rehearse and shoot. Well, I mean, the other one took the longest to shoot, but I think I would still go back and do Flash Mob again.
Really?
Because now those are also yeah, and also those are now the only dance moves I know.
So whenever you go to like a party or something, you can just pull out the dance moves?
Exactly. So now I feel confident as a dancer, and now I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to do. I should put it on my resume, like pro dancer.
I mean, definitely could. You killed it.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, you know who killed it, actually, is Trent. Are you going to speak to him at some point?
I talked to him yesterday.
Oh my God. I remember when we shot that scene, I remember like so many members of the crew went up to Trent and they were like, "You are amazing." Like they loved him because he was like so into it and just like giving it like so much sass and so much energy. And he definitely like stole the show on the day. I feel like everyone who was watching just like gravitated towards Trent to watch him dance. He was so good. Yeah, he was so good.
Yeah, he said he did like the dance scene too.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. He was like, I'm sure he did. Yeah, no, he was awesome. Everyone was great. Like, I think the OMG girls were all awesome. I thought Trent was amazing. We had like so many like cool background ensemble dancers that worked with us that were so talented. So yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah,
I just keep picturing Trent now.
Yeah, he did do really good on that though. So I will bring that up for you.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, I know a big part of the Kissing Booth 3 was obviously schools and life after school, but it was also Ellen Lee's big bucket list. If you had to make a bucket list, what would your top 3 things be?
On a bucket list for me?
On your dream bucket list.
Okay. There's just so like many things. Like one thing I did say recently was like getting a matching tattoo with like my best friend because I don't have any tattoos. And I've kind of always wanted one, but I've never been able to like settle on something. And I think it has to be something really meaningful. So like maybe like that would be a cool bucket list thing on a trip or something to do, like a matching tattoo with my best friend. I'd really like to like do a really crazy hike. Maybe Kilimanjaro's too much, or like Machu Picchu. I don't know. Something really like, I don't know, an epic mountain climbing, hiking excursion thing would be my second, something like that. Anything like that. Yeah. And then what would be a good third one? I feel like, I don't know. What have some of the others said? I want to like steal some of their ideas.
I think Trent said he wanted to do like a huge drag show.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, and
that'd be awesome.
Another one. Oh, Cameron said that he wanted to go bungee jumping off like a really high mountain or something.
I like don't understand these people who want to jump off of things or out of things. Like why? Like that is definitely not on my list at all. Like
really
jumping off
into heights.
No, I really, really do not like heights. I hate that feeling of falling. That like it makes me like sick in my stomach, that feeling. I hate it. And then I know some people have been saying like going shark diving, like Shark Tank diving or whatever, and I'm like not interested in that either. No. I mean, I want to do like very like low key things. Like can I go camp under the stars? Yeah, I mean, even I guess like climbing could be dangerous, but at least you're like on the ground. I don't know. Like I don't want to leave the ground. Or like, yeah, camping under moonlight, under stars, or doing like a really cool road trip. Like I'd love to go from coast to coast, like either east coast of Canada all the way to, wait, where do I live? Yeah, west coast. Sorry, other way. West coast to east coast, or like drive from like LA to New York. Like that would be really cool. I have had friends who have done that. I'd love to do like a super epic road trip, or get one of those really cool like Instagrammable vans that are like all like beautiful inside, and then you just like park at a beach and like take photos, and I don't know, like that would be really cool as well. So something kind of road trippy and like just kind of chill. I don't want to skydive.
Something easy but like outdoorsy kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
There's nothing wrong with that. Some people like skydiving. Some people like staying on the ground.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Obviously, as we said, it's a huge part of your life, this franchise. What was it like kind of having to say goodbye at the end?
It was very emotional. I think in some ways, I think a lot of us were kind of ready to go home just because it was exhausting and we were tired and we'd been away from home for about 4 months. And I think there was a sense of like, okay, like I'm ready to go home. But it was so difficult to say goodbye. You know, at that point, you kind of develop these routines around each other and these little like inside jokes, and you feel like a little family. And so it was really hard. I remember being really emotional and like crying a lot and like being really sad that I had to leave, but also just like exhausted. So when I came home back to Canada, I slept for like a week. But I think we also felt a sense of excitement that we had done something that was going to be really great and that people were really going to love. And now it was just about like waiting to share everything, announce everything. And so there was this sense of like excitement. I feel like now that all the films are done, now that the third one is out, like now it feels like really the end, if that makes sense. Even though like we finished shooting, it's just being able to share it with everyone. Yeah, it was very emotional.
Yeah. My last question for you, if there is anything you want to say to any of the Kissing Booth fans, what would you say?
I just would say thank you so much for watching these films and loving these films. Like I cannot say it enough that if they did not enjoy the first film as much as they did, we would never have made 2 more films. Like that's like a lot of power. The fact that they loved them so much that Netflix was like, okay, let's do 2 more, is just so mind-blowing to me. And also for me personally, I wouldn't have gotten to like do the scenes that I got to do. My role would never have gotten as big as it did. I would have never ended up in like the final 4. And that was just such a privilege because that's not what was planned at all. And yeah, I'm so grateful for that. And I honestly hope that they continue to watch these films. And even as they get older, I hope that it is a lot of nostalgia for them. I hope they come back and visit us and visit the characters, because that's kind of like the dream, is that you produce something that people enjoy so much that they want to constantly come back to visit. And yeah, I think that's what I hope. And I'm, again, just so grateful for the opportunity.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for doing this interview. It was so great to talk to you again. I have a few fan questions for you if you're down to answer them.
Yeah, of course.
I had to bring those back because people were absolutely like begging me to do a Q&A with you again.
Oh, really? Oh, yay.
What are your favorite qualities about Rachel?
I love that she's very strong in her like quietness. Like she doesn't have to be loud to make an impression. I think she finds a lot of power in that quietness, which I really appreciate. I think she's very compassionate, which is something that I definitely try to be as much as I can. And I think she is incredibly kind. So I think those 3.
Yeah. What would you want to happen in the movie if you did a 4th one?
If we did a 4th one. Oh my God, this is so funny. I feel like so many people have been asking this. I think what I would like to do is definitely, like, can we make the Kissing Booth and Jumanji merge? Like, can we do some kind of like adventure, like slightly change of genre, still rom-com-y, but like we're adults now and like something happens and we go on like an epic adventure out in like a jungle and we have to get out. Like I think that would be really fun and really cool and really different. Yeah, so that's what I would like to do.
Fair enough. That sounds like a great movie.
Yeah, I think so too.
Who was the funniest on set, in your opinion?
I feel like Zandile and Sanda together, also apart, but like when they were together, it was like a sight to behold. Like I felt like they just had so much energy and they were just so hilarious and just kind of like always keeping the energy up. So I think those 2 come to mind as the funniest.
Do you have a best behind the scenes moment that you love?
Why is this is such a random one. I don't know if it's like the best, but like one thing that I always think about. So the teaser that came out for the 3rd movie is when like Noah and Elle are by the pool and then Lee and Rachel come out too. And like Rachel's like carrying a tray of drinks and then they have like a little exchange. And that was like the teaser that came out. Every time I watch that scene, all I think about is the fact that I had actually injured my back. And I was actually in quite a lot of pain. And like we were shooting that scene and then we broke for lunch and we hadn't finished shooting yet. And I had to like in the middle of the day, like in the middle of lunch, go in my little bikini, go to my trailer. And then a physiotherapist came and like stuck these like really long needles like into like my butt and like my back and was like turning them and like releasing the muscles and like trying to get so every time I see that scene, all I think of was like all the pain I was in shooting that scene. And like how weird it was to be like, okay, lunchtime, and I'm just gonna like go in my costume, like get some needles shoved into me and then come back and like keep working, which is kind of a weird moment. So that often comes to mind.
I mean, it sounds pretty memorable. What is your skincare routine?
Oh, I feel like it's been changing a lot over the last few I was gonna say years, months. I would say like the last year/months. I try to keep things simple. Like there was a period where I was like getting a lot of products and kind of chopping and changing, and then my skin was like, what are you doing? So I try to keep it pretty simple, and my go-to thing is always sunscreen. Like I will wear sunscreen in the middle of winter because I think it's that important. So yeah, just pretty basic, like cleanser, vitamin C, moisturizer in the morning with sunscreen, and then at night I use like a hydration serum and an oil, and that's pretty much it. It's like pretty lean at the moment compared to what it used to be, I guess.
Last one. Which one is your favorite kissing booth movie?
That's hard. Honestly, I thought it was the second one. I really did think it was the second one because I just loved a lot of my scenes, and I do have some very memorable moments from that film that I just really loved. But now that I've seen, like I've watched the third one a couple of times, and now like obviously now that's all edited and everything, and just like sitting and watching it, I think the third one. I think it just encapsulates so much of the kissing booth. I love, it's like everything you want to feel in like a good summer rom-com. So yeah, I would say the third. What would you say? What would you pick? What's your favorite?
I gotta go with the first, just because it started it all.
Really? Yeah, that's true. That's a good reason. The only reason I don't say that is because Rachel's not in it.
Honestly, that was the only reason I wouldn't.
I mean, yeah, that's just like pure honesty right there.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
But no, I mean, fair enough. Like that is, I do think it is like a lot of people's favorite, that original, like first time meeting Elle and Lee and Noah, like that introduction. But yeah, I think the third now for me would be the answer.